This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality and host of the vastly popular Dr. John Deloney podcast, is my co-host today. We'll be taking your calls and your questions about your life, because he's here and he can help you with your life. And I've always got an opinion about it, because I'm an expert on my opinion. And we'll talk about your money, too, if you want. The phone number's free, and some say the advice is worth what you pay for it. The phone number, 888-825-5225. Joe's going to start off this hour in Boston. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
So I'm 22 years old and graduating college in a couple of weeks. I'll be getting married in the fall. My fiance will also be graduating. We're really excited for that. Both of us are.
Congratulations.
It's awesome, man.
Thank you. So excited. We're both debt-free. I'm going to be making about $45,000 after graduation. She's probably going to be in a similar ballpark, maybe a little less, but not by much. We currently have about $25,000 in savings, which a good chunk actually comes from the unemployment assistance, and we're just, a little concerned about that, with some of the new legislation going forward is, if we might have to pay it back. So we're trying to figure out the best way to just make smart decisions with, an apartment or probably not buying a house, but, a living situation, and just how to be, financially responsible to live well going forward.
Way to go. What's your degree in? What's her degree in?
Mine's in theology. Hers is in psychology and elementary education.
Okay. So are you going to become a pastor, or what are you going to do?
I'm going to be a youth minister at a Catholic church nearby in the area.
Wonderful. Good for you. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Very fun. All right. Well, it sounds like you got a lot on your plate. It's going to be an exciting 12 months. Agreed?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited.
So why Boston, man?
Just grew up here. Big Red Sox fan, big Boston sports fan, and we're both from the area and love it. Plan to stay around here.
Okay. Well, buying a home's a good thing as a part of the scope of your life. It's a complicated thing. It's a big decision. There's a lot of moving parts to it. Obviously, it requires money. It's one of the largest purchases you'll ever make in most cases. And so I recommend something that's highly uncomfortable, because everybody's running around going, get a house, get a house, get a house, get a house, because all renters go to hell. Get a house, get a house, get a house, get a house, right? It's like renting is evil or something. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want you to be a renter when you're 32. You're 22, okay? But I don't want you to add a house purchase to the busiest year of your life ever. You're graduating, getting new jobs, getting married. I mean, my God, the last thing you want to do is hang curtain rods.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, really, it causes divorces. But, so we always joke and say the serious thing is you'll make a better decision 1 year after marriage about which house to purchase, because you'll know each other better. You've got all of this busyness and craziness in your rearview mirror, and it'll be a calm, steady, wise decision. You're out of debt. You have your emergency fund. You have a good down payment. That's a good decision. I got to get a house because I'm getting married is about the way you make a stupid mistake. And by the way, it takes about a year of being married to know how close to your mother-in-law to buy.
I was going to say 2 or 3 years, but one's a minimum. And man, I'd get the smallest place y'all can afford to live in. Like, you're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You're getting to know each other.
That was a mistake I made coming out of college. Is I rented this big freaking nice place that was like 3 times more expensive than I should, just because I could afford it. And it was all rented money. So it was wasted money.
Right.
And I stayed there 6 months, and then we moved in this stinky butt little apartment and started saving money.
And we had bugs in our first apartment, man. It was
Well,
awful.
I don't want you to do that.
We got
That's
I'm not
gross.
saying it was great. I'm just saying
sign up for bugs.
We survived. We lived.
Well, yeah, but we're not.
Yeah.
And we learned to have some conversations that we wouldn't have had.
Yeah, it's
until-
okay to go small and clean. No bugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
No rats. You don't need any pets in there. Just you two.
I think it'd
Yeah,
be good
just
for
spend
you,
the year. Spend the year enjoying your first year of marriage and your first year of starting off at adult life with all these jobs and graduations and all this stuff. And you will make a much better decision a year later, and you be out of debt, have your emergency fund, and have your down payment. But everybody's going to put pressure on you because everybody's a freaking genius. You're 22, you're going to die if you don't buy a house. Horse crap, you're not going to die.
I've never considered hitting you up, Dave, to create a Dave Ramsey T-shirt, but a T-shirt that said "All renters go to hell" would sell really well. That's a fantastic.
But isn't it the
Davism.
way people talk about it?
Oh,
They talk
dude.
about it as if it's a salvation issue.
The number of people when we just got an apartment, I didn't know what we were doing with our lives.
They
Professionally.
sound like a beagle chasing a rabbit.
Oh, you're just gonna, if you want, I'll just go flush your money for you. I mean, it was over and over and over.
Yeah, and they're all broke, but they all got expert advice on me buying a house.
Yes, that's right.
You know, it's just and they do. They drive you people. You broke people don't need to be giving financial advice. It makes you look dumb, and God help you, somebody will follow it.
And just set a young couple up to be stable. And you said it best, the last thing a young couple needs, taking 2 new jobs in a new town and a new marriage, is to also be worrying about, can we make this rent payment, or this mortgage payment this month, or what's our house worth, or the plumbing broke, or whatever happens with new houses, which it always happens.
You know, in ancient times, in 2 Kings in the Bible even, when a young couple got married, it's very clear that the brand new husband did not go out to war in the first year. He stayed home to make a home with his wife. They didn't put brand new married soldiers on the front lines in ancient Israel. You need to get, because he knows if he goes out there and he's
not going to make good decisions.
He's not going to make good decisions. Yeah, and it's very interesting. There's something about that first year of marriage. I mean, you probably know some research on the statistics of, what you invest in each other in the first year of marriage sets a pattern for the rest of your life.
That's the key, is these patterns that you adopt really quick and can take years to unwind, and they happen overnight, right? And
Yeah.
you're both bringing your old patterns into this one pattern, and you set it real fast. Whew, it takes a while to undo those things you say or those things you do or those annoying man, you've got to really unlearn all that. Spend your time getting to know each other.
But here's the other thing. When you do give somebody good advice, they remember it. I remember, Sharon and I have been married almost 40 years. We got married, and we moved into this too expensive a house, and it was 4 bedrooms. There was 2 of us and 2 dogs. It was ridiculous, but it was nice.
Yeah.
And we thought we were pretty cool. And I went back. I stopped by and saw my old elementary school principal, Evelyn Hyde, and she's like, "Where are you living?" And I told her, and I was like all proud, and she's like, "That's dumb." She was the best. That's the best, isn't
The
it?
world needs more Evelyns
Yes, they do.
to look at genius 22-year-olds and say, that's dumb.
That was dumb. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Austin is with us in Fort Myers, Florida. Hey, Austin, how are you?
Pretty great. How about you?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can we help?
So I recently just got married about a year ago.
Congratulations.
And me and my wife are trying to purchase a house. So I'm just trying to get some good advice as well.
Okay. What's your question?
She also has some student loan debt, and we're trying to figure out if this is a good time to buy a home or pay off her student loan.
Pay off the student loan.
Okay.
So you have the money to pay off the student loan?
I have money saved before I got married to her, and I know when we got married it's all equal as one, but it's
Correct.
money that I had saved before we got married.
Correct. But now it's hers.
Okay.
It's not a I have money, it's we have money now. You're now a we. When you get married, you're French. We.
Sounds good.
Okay, so here's the thing. Unto the old-fashioned marriage vows in the Book of Common Prayer say, in sickness and health, for richer, for poorer, unto thee all my worldly goods I pledge. You don't hear that in wedding vows much anymore. It's kind of anti-prenuptial. It's quite the opposite. It's if we're going to share life, we are going to share the money and the problems and the good things, because you're going to end up sharing them all anyway. You might as well just admit it. So this is a good time to admit it, and it's a good exercise for her to accept that her student loans are paid off that she got before marriage with money that you got before marriage, and that's a very real sign in your relationship spiritually and financially that you have combined your households. And then you you build your emergency fund, and then you save up for a good down payment.
Yeah, don't go into a house without an emergency fund, man, because 100% chance something's going to break when you buy it. And you don't want to walk into that house with student loan debt and suddenly you're swimming upstream trying to fix stuff and make that mortgage payment. Let that house be a blessing, man.
And there's something that snaps in the psyche, Dr. John, that, when you force yourself to do an action that reveals that there's a new reality.
Yes. It's this, it's a winnowing, right? It's a test moment to where you can talk about it all day long. I know this is going to be ours. That can be ours. You can hear that here. I know this is ours, but I saved it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Pay it off, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's this shaky hand signing it off.
When I really do it now is when it's a real thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to hate on anybody. I get that that's weird and hard.
He wasn't doing anything wrong.
It's hard.
That's a normal process, whether you've been married a year, whether you've been married 10 years. There's people married 10 years still talking like that.
Oh,
most
30 years, 40 years with separate checking accounts.
Yeah.
You take care of these bills, I'll take care of these bills.
Like roommates.
That's exactly what they are. They're roommates. They've never fully come together on this deal.
But when anything where you're changing your life, you're changing a behavior pattern, and then you have to actually do the action.
Yes.
Not just discuss the theory of the action. There's something that snaps in the old psyche.
You have to step into it. It calls your bluff, and it begins to change you physically and neurologically. It changes you from the inside out.
And all of that, Austin, in your situation means that your marriage is already awesome, and it's about to get a little better.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
And it's going to be real uncomfortable. For a minute.
Right before it gets better.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. As you write that check, your hand may shake a little bit, and then 6 months later, you're going to be going, yeah, but this is the woman I love.
We're debt-free.
This is the woman I love.
That's beautiful.
Daniel's in New York City. Hey, Daniel, how are you? Daniel?
Hey, hello.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey, Dave and John. What's going on? How are you?
Better than we deserve, sir. How can we help?
Thank God. So I've been a listener for a couple of years already. I listen daily. Really keeps you motivated and moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
But yeah, of course. So I set myself up. I think I'm in a good spot. I have some money saved up from the past couple of years of working, and I wanted to know what I can do to really be setting myself up for success.
Okay. Are you working? You're in college? How old are you? What's your story?
I'm in college. I have about a year left.
Okay.
And,
what are you studying?
Business management.
Good for you. Okay. What's it going to cost to finish?
No, I have a college fund that's taking care of that, and I have some scholarships as well. So
great. What's it going to cost to finish?
Not sure exactly. Probably another 2 semesters. So
you don't know what a semester costs?
Maybe like another 25 to 50,000. I think it's 25 each semester.
Where the crap are you going to school?
Yeah, on Mars.
What are you? Say again?
It's a private university, so I guess.
Yeah, I guess that. Where are you going to school?
In the city.
Is it a secret? It's a secret.
Is it a secret school? What's the name of
No,
your
there's a-
school? What? Say it again.
It's
Daniel?
not such a large school, so I'd rather not say.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's a very small, very expensive school in New York City.
It's a spy school, Dave.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's a secret school.
Secret.
All right. So you think you have enough money in the college fund and in scholarships to finish. How much money do you have saved that you're worried about investing?
Like $250.
$250,000?
Yeah.
Spy school's paying pretty good. This
I'm
is pretty
telling you,
neat.
I'm way in the wrong job. I should have been
What
a
in
spy.
the world are you doing? Where did you get $250,000?
I mean, I've been working since, like, all throughout high school since I'm, like, 14.
I worked
Doing what?
really hard in high school, and I had like
$250.
exactly $11.
What did you do?
I never.
Is it a secret what you did?
You were a spy in high school, weren't you? And now you're in spy school, and now you're rich.
Dude, I'm so impressed. We're
Yeah.
picking on you. These numbers are bizarre. Way to go. Well, here's the thing. The standard answer here is this, and I'll stick with the standard answer, although these numbers are not standard. Congratulations. You're obviously a young stud.
Awesome,
All
Daniel.
kidding aside,
Awesome.
you got scholarships. You made a lot of money already. I never saw 250. Good Lord. That's amazing. Good for you. I'm so proud for you. So your first goal is graduate. You are the secret sauce to success. Graduate with no debt. You think you've got that figured out? You probably do have that figured out. You probably have enough money in your account with your scholarships and your college fund to do that. I really don't care if you invest $250,000 for the next 1 year. That is not going to change your life. Finishing this school with zero debt and launching yourself with zero debt into the marketplace is going to change your life. And understanding that you are the secret sauce here, not the interest on $250,000 for 1 year.
Dave, would you recommend a 23-year-old with that kind of money to launch in and buy a house? Or would you even recommend to this
Not
guy
until he gets out of school.
to chill? Yeah.
Get out of school.
Okay.
Because when you graduate from school, you have a high rate of transition.
Correct.
You often change cities.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously start a new job, a real job.
And the chances of
he ain't
changing
he ain't
another-
he probably ought to keep doing the one he's doing. But and it's not unusual to get married
Right.
within 18 months of that.
Right.
So statistically, not everybody. You don't have to. It's not like a rule. You're not doing something wrong if you don't.
There's some research that says men especially do everything all at once. Right.
That 1 year following school.
They do everything
and that
at once.
takes some money, and you probably aren't going to end up in the same city you were in. High statistical average, you're going to end up in her city. Actually.
Or is there any data on you take a job right out of college? What's the chances you're still in that job?
5 years later.
Yeah.
Very low.
Okay, that's what I would
Very
think.
low. These days. In the old days, it was, but these days, the average person has 17 jobs in their working lifetime.
Okay.
So you got the turnover. But, dude, you've done so well, Daniel. You're going to be all right. I think you're going to struggle through with your $250,000. My
Yeah.
God, that's
You're
pretty
gonna
impressive.
figure it out. And if y'all need any extra spies, Daniel, you know a guy.
You always wanted to be a spy.
I always wanted to be a spy.
Well, when it pays like that,
I'm telling you.
Bond.
In
James
high
Bond.
school, man. I had
Yeah.
no idea James Bond was so loaded. He drank well, but man, I didn't know it was a good high school.
You always had a
kid.
good car, but we thought it was a government car.
I thought I was killing it making $20 a lawn in high school. Daniel just embarrassed me, man.
Well, he said 250. I didn't know what he meant.
That's incredible.
Way to go, Daniel.
Good for you, Daniel.
We're having some fun, buddy, but my God.
Only because I'm jealous.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just freaked out. But, yeah, you did really good, man. So graduate debt-free, then become an investor, then start your life. Don't get in too big a hurry. You're not missing out on compound interest by being out of the market for 1 year, making sure you graduate. Graduate debt-free. You are the secret sauce. You are the best investment you can make. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personalities, my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Baby, Mike and Lacey are here. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dave?
Welcome.
How are you, John?
Good. Where do y'all live?
We live in northern New York.
All right. Very cool. Welcome all the way to Nashville to do a debt-free scream.
We can see Canada from our backyard.
Ah!
Literally. That's how far
Love
north
it.
we are.
Well, at least it's not Russia. All right, so
I was going to say, you're not a Palin, are you? But go ahead.
No.
so how much debt have you paid off?
$104,000.
All right. How long did this take?
1 day more than 2 years. We had to wait for payday.
I'll take it. I'm going to round that down to
we
2
were
years.
patient.
Yeah,
we were
that's
very
good.
patient.
And your range of income during that time?
We started out at $90,000 and we went up to $172,000, and then we went down to $163,000 because of the pandemic.
Oh yeah. Good gracious, you doubled your income. So what kind of debt was this?
We had 5 of the 0% promotions because we thought we were really smart.
You showed them, right?
Yeah.
we did.
We had my car, we had a camper, and then we each had student loans.
Wow, y'all were like normal.
Yeah. We were paying on a deck for a house that we didn't even live in anymore.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. I was like, it has to go.
I don't think it really helped us
And
out.
then they get real mad if you go sit on it after you don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
Too. They don't like
Or if you
that.
park
Yeah.
your camper that you're paying on in the driveway, right?
Yeah, in the wintertime.
Oh man.
That hurts looking out at it with snow on top. Yeah.
What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a certified professional boudoir photographer.
Okay.
And I'm a director of case management. I'm a nurse.
Oh, very cool. Good
Fantastic.
for you guys. So how did you double your incomes?
I cranked up the work. I just took on more work and invested in my education and just kind of took off.
Wow. What about you?
Well, I've kind of scaled the entire time in my career. So,
Yeah, you got the opportunity to take on overtime like crazy, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially
actually-
in 2020.
Yeah, actually, during the pandemic, my business was shut down, and he had to take a 20% pay cut because the hospital wasn't, having all the elective surgeries and whatnot. So,
Ah.
yeah.
Plus, I'm salary, so there's no such thing as overtime for salary.
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. Wow. All right. So what started this journey 2 years ago? What got you guys so fired up?
Well, I actually had heard about you from an educator that I followed, and I saw your book in a thrift store, and I was like, why not? I've spent
It's
more.
$1.
Yeah,
It's $1.
It was $2, but that's okay.
The cover was flashy. It caught our eye.
Yeah, good looking guy on the
When
cover.
people
That's
think
right.
Dave Ramsey, they think flashy.
Yeah, that's
right.
what comes to mind. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
I think I
The
was going
sun
to say
must have been
I think that
shining.
we've kind of had this concept in our head the entire time that we've been together, but we did like Dave Ramsey light. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't really know where we were going or what we were doing, but we knew that not being in debt was kind of where we needed to be. So although over time we've had cards and things like that, we never carried a balance. We knew at different times that when we had debt, we had to pay it down. So we've tried over the years. We just never had a clear path.
How long y'all been married?
So
17 years.
17
What actually in your brain, what do you think, was there an event or a certain thing that happened that caused you to just flip the switch and go, I'm all in, let's do this?
Yeah, no, it just was like I picked the
her.
book up and I was like, okay, this sounds like a good idea. Like he had said, we had the idea in our head and we just didn't know where we were going. So once I read the book, I was like, oh yeah, this
Yes.
is, we just made a couple little tweaks and like, that's what we needed
she
to do.
read it, then I read it, and we were sold, and we were like, let's do this.
So just the total money makeover and game on.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I
Yep,
listen to your
'cause we were-
podcast every day.
We were believers anyways prior to that. We just needed that path. We needed those stories. We needed that guidance to be able to be on the right trajectory.
So there was no big drum roll moment where one of you presented this to the other. It was just, hey, I'm in, you're in. Let's get off to the races.
Well, she did it first.
Yeah,
she really absorbed it. She's she's the reader, she's the studier, and she kind of planned this out and then kind of brought me on board, and that's where we bought into the whole concept that this is a plan we need to be on.
Love it.
I'm definitely the nerd, so I found a calculator online, and I was like, we could pay off our debt really quick. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And so it was really easy to get them on board.
Wow. Congratulations. I'm so proud of y'all. You're impressive.
Thank you.
Very, very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
Now that you're professionals, you paid off $104,000 in 2 years. What's the secret to getting out of debt? America wants to know.
I think it was really automating. So every time we got paid, I just automatically put the money right into a debt account, and we just clicked the button. We actually didn't do the budget for a long time until this last April, when I was like, I'm bored, let's do something. And so then once we started doing that, I was like, wow, we have a lot more money now.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you don't realize what's there until you start, like what you say, crunching the numbers, and you realize it's almost like money begets money.
Yeah.
It's there, but when you start managing your money and you start accounting for every penny, it seems like there just is more.
Feels like
and
you
more
got,
and more.
feels like you got a raise.
Absolutely.
And it's an amazing feeling, really, for that to happen like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you guys. Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Probably my parents, and I have a couple friends that were kind of cheering me on. We'd make every time I would make a big sale or something, we'd get like a cash fan, and we'd be like, yes, we are that much closer to paying off our student loans or whatever we were on. So it was we did have a lot of people around us that were really supportive.
That's good.
And she's an entrepreneur. She didn't really start off by herself, knowing what she wanted to do, but I was kind of the cheerleader behind her to say, you can do this. So I was living vicariously through her in terms of her entrepreneurial spirit. And it was really nice to watch that and, encouraging her along the way. And that's why obviously our income increased a lot. I think we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for the work that she did in her business.
Wow.
The blood, sweat, and tears, building it from the ground up. Reading the business books late at night and just trying to figure out how to make things work. And she's, how far are you in now? 5 or 6 years?
Yes, I've been a photographer for 13 years, but I've been doing my business for 6 now.
Wow. Congratulations, you guys.
Few things in the world make me happier than listening to a husband describe how proud he is of his wife.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well done. Very well
I'm very
done.
proud of her.
So how did this help your marriage?
Yeah, we definitely had to, be on the same page, and I think we were just competing to see who could make more money, because, I would do well, and then he'd get a raise, and it was great.
I think it was very exciting, actually. I think it helped our marriage in terms of that because, for us to do this journey, and then, of course, we've been trying to inspire people along the way and describing what this is all about. We've handed out books. We're always thinking one step ahead, to how to be forward-thinking, getting on to those next steps. And so that's how we got us.
Very
here.
cool. And you brought the kiddos to do the debt-free scream. What are their names and ages?
We have Andrew, he's 8, and we have Evelyn, she is 6.
All right. Very cool. Well, we've got a copy of The Legacy Journey, which is my last book I did on what happens now. How are you going to leave a legacy now? Change the family tree. So give you a copy of that and take care of you. So thank you guys for making the trip all the way from New York. We're so proud of you. You're incredible people. Very, very well done. All right, Mike and Lacey, Andrew and Evelyn from New York. $104,000 paid off in 2 years, making 90 to 172 to 163. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3,
2, 1.
We're debt free!
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's the first Macklemore thrift store debt-free scream I've heard of, man. That's incredible. What a fortuitous walk through a thrift store, man.
$2 book.
Yeah, that's a good ROI on that purchase.
Yeah, that old Total Money Makeover for $2, slightly used.
Slightly
It was
used.
shiny because somebody spilled something on it. So.
Hey, but then they turned into proselytizers, and they've been buying books and handing them out, man.
That's right. I made out on that.
So I think what we should do is start just putting some copies in
we
thrift
ought to
stores.
plant a few books in the thrift stores.
I like it.
Because it leads to more book sales. This is a new marketing plan.
Yes, James is going to be right on that.
Get on that, James. Make that happen.
Good.
Send Kelly out to the thrift stores right now. That's
love
perfect. Well done, you guys. Very, very proud of you. You guys are incredible. Well, that's how you do it. You work together. And they kept saying over and over, they really didn't do anything different except start paying attention. and make every dollar behave. And then every time they dialed in that much more and made every dollar behave, they got that much more mileage out of it, and it accelerated the process. This is the Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Mark is with us in Boston. Hey, Mark, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate it. How you doing?
Better than I deserve. How can we help?
Yeah, so I'll throw you a little backstory here. I'm currently an undergraduate student, full-time enrolled. I have a full tuition scholarship. I'm also a resident advisor, so I don't pay room and board either. So I actually I net nothing at the end of each semester. Recently, I just bought a car. I have about $10,000 in debt on that. There's obviously a large push from the left pushing for student loan forgiveness. So I was wondering what your thoughts would be on pulling out student loans again and transferring paying off my car with those loans, with student loans, and then possibly getting the chance to have my car loan that is now student loan forgiven.
So I'm a taxpayer, and I'm supposed to pay off your car with your student loan forgiveness. Don't you think that's immoral?
Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, it's
yeah, a little bit.
If the opportunity is there, if the government's going to be deciding to start handing out money left and right, why not take the opportunity?
So let me tell you, there was a book out several years ago called Millionaire Next Door by a man named Tom Stanley, who passed away. It came out in 1992. He did a book later called The Millionaire Mind. The Millionaire Next Door, he studied millionaires. The Millionaire Mind, he studied people that had $10 million, decamillionaires. And he looked for the he looked for the correlating statistical points. He was a researcher in people that had $10 million or more. And he found demographic similarities. He found career similarities. And he found 38 statistical points of reference that indicated, they were causal, that indicated that if you had a large number of these, you would have a high indicator that you were heading towards $10 million or more. And he listed them in order of the first one. In other words, number one was the most often occurring, 38 was the least often occurring out of the 38 points. You understand what I'm saying? And let me tell you what number one was. Fanatical levels of integrity. You need to visit that and sit on that. Because when you do not have fanatical levels of integrity, you are missing the number one correlating data point towards building wealth. Versus how much can I scam the American taxpayer out of and get me a free car? Dude, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. So, no, you should not do that.
A really important mentor of mine posed an important question back in my 20s, and the question was this: is integrity something you can sort of have? You can mostly have. And that has just sat inside me for a long, long time. Because I lived some of my life thinking, yeah, I mean, mostly, And here's the thing, Dave, that bill's going to come due for all of us. It's going to come due for all of us.
There's just nobody gets rich scamming the government and the taxpayers.
No.
It's just, you don't get wealthy that way. You don't get wealthy trying to, run a welfare scam.
You bought a $10,000 car.
You don't get wealthy running a unemployment scam. You don't get wealthy scamming hiding your grandpa's assets so you can get a government-funded Medicaid nursing home, which is illegal as crud. It's called welfare fraud.
Yeah.
But people do it every day. And so stealing is not a part of integrity.
Why do you think decamillionaires, what's the correlation there? I don't know a lot of decamillionaires.
The ones that I know anecdotally line up with that. I mean, everybody knows, any group of people, you can put them in a room and there's one,
idiots in every group.
There's
That's
a,
right.
There's a jerk, right?
That's right.
There's somebody that doesn't have integrity. So not all decamillionaires do, but there's a high correlation to that. That when they interviewed their wife, when they interviewed their kids, when they interviewed their employees, when they interviewed their competitors in the marketplace, they said, I don't always agree with that guy, but one thing about it, if he says it's raining, you better get you an umbrella. If he says he's going to unleash hell on you, you better get ready because hell's coming. You better, whatever he says he's going to do, he's going to do. And so this fanatical levels of integrity. And I think it's because most things in this world move on the speed of trust.
I was going to say, I think you could probably stumble and grit and grind and cut and cheat your way to $3 million. But to get 10, you got to have other people walking alongside you.
You got to have somebody else lifting with you.
That's
and they
gonna
don't
shake
lift
your
with
hand.
you if they don't trust you.
Yeah.
And trust is it's a mammoth thing. How you get trust? Well, you're unbelievably consistent. And, the word integrity comes from the same root word that we get the word integer from, or integral. Okay?
Yeah.
And so the word integer, if you're a math nerd, you know that an integer is a whole number. It has no fraction to it. It's not 1.5. It's not 1.25. It's a whole. It's 2, 1, 3. It's whole. And integrity is whole, the whole person. And it's not like, well, I don't cheat on my wife, but I do cheat on my taxes. You're just a freaking cheat. It's just a matter of time before it's revealed somewhere else. It's because it's that whole. And the interesting thing about this is the reason I'm wearing this young man out is directly and indirectly, and people in our audience simultaneously, is that it's a choice. You can grow up being a cheat and just decide.
I'm done. Yeah.
Characters in the Bible, Jacob.
I'm done.
Jacob did it.
Yeah.
He was known as the deceiver in the Bible. And then he became a man of integrity. You can just say, as of today, I have integrity. You can just decide.
Yeah.
You can't decide I'm beautiful. You can't decide to grow hair. I've tried. But you can just decide I'm going to have integrity.
I was going to tell the truth.
I'm going to be a man. I'm going to be a woman that can be counted on. And so once I got all that dialed into my head, you know what I pay on my taxes? Every stinking dime I owe. Exactly. We don't have a side set of books like we don't count the cash. We count the cash. The cash is part of the profit. It's taxable income in America. When you make a cash profit on something, you can hide it. But the law says, and my integrity says when I sign that tax return, that it's real. Now, I hate taxes, and I don't pay a dime more than I have to, and I spend money with accountants trying to legally use everything in the law to not pay it.
Right.
But once I know what's owed, if I ever get audited,
come on over.
Be a hot knife through butter because it's all right there, baby.
Yeah.
I got nothing to hide.
And my guess is your heart rate runs a little lower. You
you
sleep a little
at
better.
night. You sleep at night. Well, the whole thing, I don't have to try to remember what I said because whatever I said was what I said.
Right. Huh.
And it's like we were digging around in the warehouse. We closed up a warehouse this week, and they brought some of the old files over, and I found a file in there. I was going through them this morning with my assistant trying to figure out what to throw away, and there's a file from 1999 with hate mail. and
I can't wait to read that.
She gets all my hate mail anyway, because the mail it comes here, and so she's like, this is the same thing they say right now. They hate you for exactly the same reason that they did in 1999.
I think we need to read it on the show.
Oh, I do need to do. I'll bring the file down next week. We'll do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. But I'm unbelievably consistent. I'm even hated for the same reason.
Next week we're going to do an episode on my show, James, of just that. 40 minutes of reading letters. It's going to be fantastic. We're all going to feel better about ourselves after that.
Well, we used to read mean tweets, but now that's all there are. So. It would be all you'd have to do is open up Twitter.
Now we read nice tweets. That's right.
Yeah, because they're the rare ones.
There's 3 of them. That's right. 3 of them.
Twitter is troll land. But, the thing is that once as a young guy I figured out reading these people and understanding these people, and it became a part of my faith walk too, to tell the truth, to be the truth, to be consistent. It does get easier. It's hard in the moment. I mean, he's got $10,000 in debt now.
Yeah.
That might have gone away if Biden makes student loans go away.
Right.
But that's like fraud.
Yeah.
It if you hide assets so that you can get government money, that's illegal.
And my challenge with the bailout, besides the fact that we don't have the money, is, Dave, I didn't understand what I was signing. My wife and I signed for a lot, but at the end of the day, I signed my name on a piece of paper that said I'll pay you back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's old school.
That's wrestled in that's just been in me.
It's old school.
I told you I'll pay you back, I will.
Yeah. My challenge with it is it doesn't bother me much. It's just quit making the stinking loans if you're going to forgive them. It's intellectually dishonest if you're going to forgive
plug
them.
the hole first, right?
Yeah. That's just, why are you making them if they're so dadgum bad? Stop making them, and then we'll talk about the rest of it. This is The Ramsey Show. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, host of the Dr. John Deloney podcast, which is unbelievably popular these days. Well, I guess it actually is believable, but it's not unbelievable.
I don't believe it. I've got like 11 friends and my mom.
And well, that started your base.
And it has exceeded
and,
that.
And they have all told 6 people each, and so we got it going now.
My mom hits refresh a lot, and I thought that was just it, but
no, it's actually a thing.
It's more than that.
You've become a thing, dude. It's happened right here at Ramsey. We watched it happen.
A weird
so
thing.
Check it out if you want to hear about life and mental health and boundaries and relationships. It's all Dr. John Deloney Show, and you will leave a lot of things, but bored will not be one of them. And so check it out. We'd love to have you there. And his best-selling book, Redefining Anxiety, as well. So we're here to help you with your life, your money, your mental health questions, your relationship questions, your life, your money. All of that is woven in there together. Kim is with us to start off this particular hour in Roanoke, West Virginia. Hi, Kim. How are you? That'd be Virginia. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Virginia, I'm good. Thank you so much for taking my call. I need some education and some advice.
Okay.
I am 51 years old. My husband's 57. We're debt-free except for the house. We finally got our emergency fund fully funded, which means we were able to start our Roth this week, which brought us up to 15%. We owe $170,000 on the house, and my question, and because I don't know a lot about whole life policies, we have 2. One is worth $26,000 cash value, and one's $14,000. And I want to know if we should take those and put them against the principal of that $170,000 and how that works.
Okay. Well, life insurance is a crummy place to invest money. It is not for an investment. It's for replacing one of your incomes if one of you dies, to help the other one get along.
We have term.
You have enough term insurance in place?
My husband's dad is a State Farm agent, and he got him these whole life policies a long time ago. We have term insurance, $600,000 on him, $300,000 on me. So we're good.
From State Farm?
No, that's a different company through our financial advisor.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Well, your husband's dad is still living?
Yes, he is.
Okay. He may not understand, but I would cancel those.
Okay.
He likely won't understand, but he's...
No.
Yeah, but that's not relevant to the conversation. This stuff's, it's crap.
Right.
It's absolute crap. And so you're better off to have your money going into things that are going up in value and that have a good rate of return, and and get the get the cash value out while you can, Because if you die, whatever cash value is in there stays with the insurance company. State Farm keeps it. They only pay the face amount of a policy. That's how whole life works. That's one of the reasons it's such a ripoff. So you do want to go ahead and get rid of that. You may have some relationship issues in the midst of doing that, but you need to get rid of it. So, folks, here's the way this works. Whole life insurance is roughly 20 times more expensive for the same amount of insurance nationally. That's the averages. So what you can buy for $5 a month in term costs you $100 a month in whole life.
But, Dave, it's such a great investment.
And the other $95 that is not going to insurance then goes into an investment.
Right.
And so let's learn the rules of the investment. The first thing that happens is the first 3 years of a whole life policy, your cash value is zero. So you invested $95 a month in our example for 3 years, and you have nothing. That's called a front-loaded financial product if you're being kind. It's called getting screwed if you're not. Then once you do get money in there and it starts building up, the average whole life policy in this nation today pays 1.2% interest. And this is a long-term retirement plan investment, which, by the way, the Consumer Price Index was 4.2 for the last 74 years, meaning inflation. And so if you're not making at least 4% on your money, you're not keeping up with inflation. So you're losing money when you save money long-term at 1%. That's after you lost all your money for the first 3 years. But after all of that, if you do it for years and years and years and years and years and years, and you finally have $20,000 in this $40,000 or $50,000 whole life policy as your cash value buildup that you paid an extra $95 a month for all these years, and then you die. Your $50,000 policy with a $20,000 savings in it that you've paid 20 times extra per month to get pays $50,000. What happened to your 20? Oh, they keep it.
We gifted it to the insurance company.
Yeah, because we're just those kind of people.
We wanted a bigger, shinier building in our downtown.
We needed another tower.
You know, Dave, when you first told me this several months ago, I even got over the dismal return. What I didn't get over, it's just driven me crazy when I'm driving home by myself.
They keep your money.
Is that they go invest it at 12%, and they keep the 11% gap.
Oh, yeah, because most of your shopping malls and so forth are financed. The mortgage company on major commercial projects is life insurance companies. They loan money back out into real estate as a mortgage company and make 8, 10, 12 on it, wherever in there. And so, but aside from that, so you have a banking system where you bought term insurance for $5, you put $95 into a savings program that for the first 3 years they keep your money. After that, they pay you 1.2%, and when you die, they keep your savings account. Now, what kind of idiot would have a savings account like that? None. But, of course, it's never explained to you that way by those people because they sell this crap. So there's only two people that sell whole life insurance. Ignorant people that don't understand it, who are actually good, kind, sweet people. They're just ignorant. Because that's exactly how it works. Or crooks. Because if you understood that and you sell it anyway, you're a crook, by definition. And so that means that sweet little lady's sweet little father-in-law, I just called him a crook, but oh well, or ignorant. He's more than likely just ignorant, though. Most of those guys I know in that world,
they just want to make sure they see that money. They'll make sure.
Well, they mainly sell homeowners and car insurance, and so then their company has whole life, and they get them tied up into this, and they make good money on it because you get paid in the insurance world. You get paid on premium, and so if the premium's 20 times more, your commission is 20 times more. So of course they're going to go, oh, I think that's really good stuff, But no one in the entire financial community, not a single person anywhere in the financial world today recommends cash value life insurance except people that sell it. None of the rest of us, none of us that have, that are independent people in the investment world, they tell you do need life insurance, but you need to get term insurance. People anywhere else, any kind of study you do, any kind of formal academic study you do, anything, unless it's from the whole life world, unless it's from the people who sell it, they don't tell you to buy it because it's absolutely the payday lender of the middle class.
Is there any data that shows that people buy that more than term?
Oh, yeah, they buy a lot more than term.
That's why I feel like everyone I know has whole life policies.
And the reason, why they buy it more than term? Because it's sold more than term.
Pushed more than term.
Yeah. I mean, until 15, 20 years ago, term insurance, nobody talked about it hardly. This was But if you go into every major city in America, in the skyline is banks and life insurance companies. I wonder how that happened. Santa Claus didn't build those buildings. You did, people. This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. This is The Ramsey Show. Common sense for your dollars and cents. Teaching people to live on less than they make, a concept Congress can't grasp. Lydia is with us in Columbia, Missouri. Hey, Lydia, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing today?
Better than I deserve. How can we help you?
My husband and I are currently renting, and our rent expires roughly by July this year. We've been planning to buy our own home, and we started listening to your program less than 3 months. And we want to buy our own home because our kids are yet to join us. We are immigrants. I joined my husband about 2 years ago in the pandemic, or before the pandemic, and I started working not long ago. Our income for the year is about 150, 160. My husband makes over 100, and I make about 30,000. We have car loans. My husband has student loans. We have IRS debt. Our total debt is 125. Our question is...
You've been here. He's been here 3 years, or you've been here 3 years?
I have been here 2 years. He has been here 10 years.
20?
10.
10. Okay.
Yes.
I was thinking, man, he got car debt and IRS debt pretty quick. Okay. Wow.
Okay. So now,
which country are you immigrating from?
Ghana, Africa, Ghana.
Wonderful. And is this a permanent citizenship or green card or what?
I am on green card. He's permanent resident.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So you'll be able to get your citizenship then, right?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Good. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. All right.
Thank
And
you.
what do you guys do for a living?
He's a nurse, and I'm also a nurse as well.
Okay.
But I am a medical assistant. He's a nurse in the psych field.
Gotcha. And how old are your children?
Our son is 21.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter is 15. Our two little ones, 10 and 8.
And they're all in Africa?
One is here. One is my step. My husband had a child out with someone when he was here without me. And then I have, in actual fact, I have 2 kids. He has 2 back home, but we both are out of our first marriages. So we have been together less than 5 years.
I understand. Okay. And the so you could rent a home for the children that would live in your home if they were to move here, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's what you need to do. You need to get out of debt first, build your emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses second, and then start saving to buy a home. When you buy a home with all this debt hanging around your neck and with no emergency savings, the home will end up being more of a curse than a blessing. It is not it is home ownership when you're broke is a bad thing. It will get you. It will bite you. And so you've got good incomes. He has had some bad. He's developed some bad American habits with money. I hear them in the mistakes he's made. You may have participated in a couple of those, but you got car debt, you got IRS debt, you got some other things you need to clean up here, because that's a mess. And then save your emergency fund for a rainy day, and then do this. So what I want to do is I want to help you with this because I'm inspired by your story. We have a class called Financial Peace University. We have a budgeting app called Every Dollar. The premium version of Every Dollar and Financial Peace University are all included in what's called Ramsey Plus, a one-year membership to that, to be able to watch those videos, go through this financial class. You and your husband do that together. Obviously, we charge $100 for all of that per year. If I give it to you as a gift, will you promise me that you and your husband will do everything in there?
Yes, we will.
Okay. I think you might. So you hold on, and I'll give it to you. Kelly will pick up, and we'll get you signed up. That's pretty cool.
That's super cool, and I love how you framed that. You've picked up some bad American habits.
Well, you don't do that in Ghana.
Hey, man.
You don't have IRS debt and car debt in Ghana.
No. It's the truth, right? It's the truth.
It's a cultural thing. I mean, there are countries that do the same stupid butt stuff we do. Australia, they're about as, UK, England, about as stupid as we are on stuff like this, or dumber in some cases, but as a culture. But, you can observe these things in different cultures, the way people handle money, the way they see money, and it has a lot to do with a lot of different factors, economic factors and other things. But, what's interesting is if they get their act together, they have a higher probability of becoming wealthy than someone that's born here.
Why do you think that is?
I think they believe that it's a land of opportunity, and some of us aren't sure.
We just don't believe it anymore?
We're waiting on somebody else to do it. And all they wanted was a chance, a place that they could do it.
And they just see fields upon fields to go be tilled, right?
It's the land of opportunity, not the land of entitlement. And they see it that way. They think the Statue of Liberty is real. And I do, because I'm an old-fashioned American softy.
Some of the coolest, most inspirational folks I've been around in my educational career was international students who would come over and say, "You're telling me I can get a law degree here? You're telling me I can go to med school?
You're telling me I can go to Walmart and they have 7 kinds of milk?
Game on. Yeah, let's do this, man.
This is the land of abundance. Yeah.
Gift upon gift upon gift.
2 aisles of cookies?
Work
what
hard,
do you mean?
hard, yeah.
What do you mean? You got to be kidding me. Yeah, it's real. John's in Arlington, Virginia. Hey, John, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Dave. Hi, John.
Hi. How can we help?
So I have a question. I'm on baby step 6 of your book. I have net worth is about $1.8 million.
Way to go.
That's free. Thank you. I didn't think it would happen. So net worth, I'm debt free. Definitely have an emergency fund. My mortgage is $381,000 left on it, and I'm considering there's out of my brokerage accounts. There's one fund that has about $314,000 in it, and I'm wondering if I should sell that to pay off my mortgage. It's returning about 13%. And
how old are you?
I'm 52.
Okay, way to go. Did you inherit any of this $1.8 million?
I inherited $9,000.
$9,000.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the greatest answer I've ever heard.
Not exactly a trust fund, baby. Okay, I'm just saying.
I did have an inheritance.
No.
9.
Yeah.
My
$9.
grandparents left me $9,000.
Yeah. So you did. What's been your income through your working life here?
When I was 20, it was down like some years $50 and to $100 to a couple thousand. I had
What's been your best year? What'd you make your very best year ever?
160.
Okay,
160,000.
Cool. What's your career field?
In software consulting.
Way to go! I'm so proud of you, man.
That's awesome, man.
So here's the way you answer the question. There's an old thing from the Harvard Investment Newsletter that's called sunk cost analysis, and you just reverse engineer your question and it'll answer it for you. If your home was paid off and you did not have this investment brokerage, would you go borrow on your paid-for home and put $300,000 in a brokerage account?
No.
Same thing. Every day that you don't pay this off, you borrowed it again.
Yeah.
So what that question does, though, is it also causes you were telling me about the 13% rate of return and all that crap. So that's the math side of your brain. The other side of your brain, called your heart, is where you measure risk. And when I suggested that you borrow on your paid-for home, it kind of puts your stomach in your throat a little bit. And that means that you all of a sudden started measuring the risk of this. You're not going to go bankrupt and you're not going to get foreclosed on. You're worth $1.8 million. You've done it, dude. You're good. But this is just a measurement, a piece when your head lays on the pillow at night. Pay off your house today, sir. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Thank you for joining us, America. Dr. John Deloney is my co-host today here on the air. You can add hope to your inbox with the Ramsey newsletter. Whether you're on baby step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, it's packed with actionable guidance on up-to-date ways to save money, stay on a budget, invest smarter, give more. Every week we walk with you as you tackle debt, as you build your savings. Plus, you'll never miss the latest articles, shows, products from Ramsey Solutions. Of course, it's free. You can subscribe to the Ramsey newsletter today at ramseysolutions.com/newsletter. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. The promo code is Ramsey.
All right, today's question comes from Robbie in California. At age 5, I started piano lessons, and 5 years later, I got a job playing at a restaurant on weekends. I was paid $60 a night plus tips. My dad said that since I was a minor, he would save the money for me. When I started college and asked for the funds, I learned all the money was gone. I know the account had over $8,000 in it. How do I move on from the trauma of this and develop a healthy relationship with money? I don't think the relationship problem here is with money. I think you got to say what your dad did sucks, and there's a period at the end of that sentence, and then you got to move on.
I'd add one more sentence. What he did sucks, he sucks.
Yeah, he stole from his kid.
What a scumburger.
Stole from his kid. Your trust issues with dad.
And let me tell you, when I say that, everybody goes, yeah. But when this young man hears me say that or you say that, it's hard for him to hear. It's hard to hear your dad is a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Your mom's a bad lady.
Because we jump in and want to defend him?
Well, I mean, it's against our nature to think that the person that's supposed to take care of you screwed you over.
Yeah. But you got to say it. I often tell people to write it down and put a period at the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
And then you got to feel it, and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go make a decision what you're going to do next.
Yeah. And so, what are your takeaways from this? How do you defeat the emotional scars and trauma? You have to intellectually get above them, and then you feel them.
Yeah, you got to feel them. Yeah.
But getting above them it's not a money problem. It's a dad problem.
It's a dad problem.
And so, what do you walk away from this learning? Well, A, you're good at the piano. Mm-hmm. People will pay you for it.
Yeah.
B, you have the ability to make money and save money.
You worked hard.
Yeah. You got a good work ethic. I mean, 10 years old, he's at the piano. Am I reading that right? 5 plus 5, yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
don't trust your dad with money.
Yeah, we're not going to give him any money.
Yeah.
We're not going to trust him with much anything, really.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes of our time, maybe. But I'm not going to leave my kid there.
Yeah.
Either. You can't trust him stealing. I don't know what else I can trust him with. So I mean, he'd be there with my kid, but not leave my kid there by himself. So I wouldn't. not till this is not till some kind of noticeable change in the old man's life because he's a crook.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is that you probably have learned a lesson that you do want to learn, and that is you don't trust other people to take care of your money. Now, when you're 10, you're supposed to. Okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's a child.
But you can take that away and go, when I'm 40, I'm not going to let someone take care of my money blindly.
That's right.
I'm going to always be involved. I'm going to always know where my money is. I'm always going to understand it. No one's got like power of attorney. So, I'm in Nashville. We're in Nashville, and over the years I've become friends with a lot of folks in the music business.
They get scammed. They just get
and
robbed.
the stories of the guys that are 60, 70 years old and how they got scammed when they were making big hits because they turned everything over. It's like an athlete.
And they knew this guy.
Yeah.
And I loved him. And he hung out with my kids and my family.
And $100 million later,
he took a lot of my money.
Yeah. I don't have any money because I turned it over to him like this kid turned it over to his dad. Yeah. You have to do that when you're 10. You don't have to do that when you're adult. So it's a good takeaway, and that's not being bitter or that's not being toxic or something. I don't trust anymore because of my father. No, you just don't. It's your job to manage the money and understand what it's doing. You can help get advice from people, but you can't get a babysitter for your money.
So there's been some. I've been doing a lot of reading on trauma the last few years, Dave, and there's two guys, Dr. Peter Levine and another guy named Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. They have a description of trauma that was transformative for me, and it's less about the issue and more about your body's response in the present to that issue. So what I would tell this young man is when he's about to do something related with money and his heart starts racing, just stop for a second and acknowledge, my body's trying to take care of me. And then you can say, I'm good. I appreciate your body taking care of me, but I know what I'm doing now. Or I've got trust here, or I've dug into this account, and what you want to do is make peace with your body in the present, because it's just trying to take care of you, and it will take care of that little 10-year-old kid for the rest of your life if you don't acknowledge it. But we spend so much time trying to replay what has already happened, try to edit that story. You can't edit the fact your dad stole your money. What you can do is learn to make peace with your body moving forward.
That's interesting. Your body reacts as if the same event is happening again.
Yes, over and over.
It remembers
and over.
to warn you that it could be happening again.
And that's why
it's a warning mechanism.
All day, every day. And we even will fall into similar relationships to people who hurt us in the past because our body wants to correct it and fix it. And we'll end up in the same situation over and over.
Like I remember when I was a little kid, we were coming home from my grandmother's, like a 10-hour drive. And we came across the top of this hill, 2-lane road, and stopped because a guy was turning left in front of us. Guy came over the hill and plowed in the back of us. I mean, knocked us into totaled the car.
Wow.
It was a bad car wreck. And that was 50 years ago.
Yep.
And when somebody gets up on my bumper from behind now,
your heart takes off.
I still feel it.
Takes off. That's right.
That's the same thing, isn't it?
And so there's a little part of your brain is going to scan your environment
50 years
forever until you say, there it is. I'm good. I'm in a big Raptor now, right?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll win this exchange. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, woo, I want to get one of those old people bumper stickers, like get off my butt, kind of thing, like, get off my lawn, that kind of thing. And it's just, but it's associated with that trauma. Your body remembers that.
The name of the book is The Body Keeps the Score, right? Huh. And so think about when you an
like
adult,
when you're these guys that call up in their second marriage, but their first wife blew all the money and stole everything, and so they have trouble trusting the new wife.
And so, Dave, we are in a culture that is so obsessed with new information. And we can shove it all in our frontal lobe, new facts. But that part of our brain that's looking for threats is still running and running and running.
Lizard brain is real.
It's always running until you make peace with. She walks in holding the checkbook, and you go. You got to go. Hey, she's different. She's new. I trust her.
She ain't got the same name.
I trust her. That's right. I trust her. She looks totally different.
Yeah.
Right. And your body will begin to go. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure that she's not a threat. And once you make peace with your body, man, that's when your body you receive this healing from this trauma.
That's what happens when people get their emergency fund.
That's exactly right.
They've been living on the edge for so long that every stinking little thing was a crisis.
Everything.
I mean, every hangnail is a crisis when you're broke.
Right.
I mean, every little dinky $50 thing is a crisis when you're broke. But when you got $10,000 in the bank, it's an inconvenience.
It's annoying.
It's just an annoyance.
But
your emotions still go, oh, God!
Yes.
Oh, God!
And we hear about people who get out of debt and they say, I can't spend now. That's it.
Yeah.
Because they've got a part of their brain saying, you will never spend again because we remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
And you got to make peace with it.
Yeah.
And that's why you're coaching.
But you can retrain it because
absolutely.
But it requires intellectually getting above it.
That's right.
And going, wait, facts are my friends, as you always say.
Yeah.
And so, like,
but you can't steamroll your feelings. You got to
No, I know,
acknowledge.
I mean,
them.
like Sharon, when we went broke, she was terrorized by us being broke.
Yep.
And so, anytime we do anything that feels like the stuff we used to do, like we might.
The alarm sets off.
And it's like, whoa, chill. We've got money. It's
we have
okay.
lots of zeros and commas.
We could just burn that much in the middle of the floor and nobody will care. It's okay. It's okay. And she, okay. She has to revisit it, though. Right. It's very interesting.
The human body is extraordinary at taking care of us.
Wow. This is the Ramsey Show. Christy Wright is all about equipping women to make money doing what they love. One of the ways she does that is through the Business Boutique Academy, her exclusive online training group for women with businesses. Having a business can be overwhelming, it can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. With the right training, the right support, there's nothing you can't do. So whether you have a business or a side hustle, ladies, if you're looking to use your passion and skills to start a business and make extra money, Christy will guide you every step of the way. Enrollment for the Academy closes tonight. We only have open enrollment twice a year because we want everybody to be in the same groups moving through the process, and only twice a year. Don't miss your opportunity to get it. Closes tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. Join the Academy at RamseySolutions.com/Academy and become part of the incredible community of women who are making money doing what they love. Alex is in Santa Clara, California. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you for taking my call. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So, my parents are what you might call rock stars. Mom's a teacher, dad's a cop, and they are multimillionaires just from doing all your stuff, which means that when I went to college, I went to this real fancy, expensive school, and they were able to cash flow the whole thing. I'm 24 now. I can't help but feel like I want to pay them back somehow, but I can't just cut them a check. It's not like they're going to care about that. So, what kind of things can I do as a son, to honor the gifts that they've given me and pay them back somehow?
Get married and have babies.
And be a good husband. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah, you don't give them money. They don't want money. They don't need money. Let me tell you, I got 3 kids that are successful, have great marriages, strong followers of Jesus. That they're experts in their fields. They're very giving and generous. They're good moms and dads, and they bring the grandbabies over to see Papa Dave. I don't need anything else from them, dude. That's everything. That's the best way they can pay me back. Don't be screw-ups.
Is it really that simple?
It really is.
Hey, Alex, I'll tell you, I'll add one more. I can't believe it took me this long to do this. As I was leaving my home state to move to Nashville, I took a detour. I drove about 3 hours out of the way, and I called my dad and said, hey, would you like to meet for coffee as I'm leaving the state? And he said, sure. And I had a moment to look him in the eye over coffee, and I just said, hey, I need you to know something. You did a great job, and I'm so glad I'm your son. And that was an exchange that I should have had 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Man, you can't pay the light bill with that, but I think my dad, he walked about 6 inches taller after that. And I think every dad wants to hear from their kids, I'm grateful for you. And, man, as a 24-year-old, your ROI is money. How can I pay you back? Man, letting them know I'm grateful for you.
If your dad is your hero, tell him.
To his face. Give him a hug. A front hug. Front hug. Front hug your dad. Don't be weird about it. Do it.
And every so often, just go. If you want to spend some money, buy a couple airline tickets and go on a blank trip, whatever it is you do, hunting trip, golf trip.
Yep.
I don't care, and that kind of stuff. My sons and I and my son-in-law's dads, we all went on a big golfing trip this summer all together, and that was more fun than I can think of doing anything. So those kinds of things. I have breakfast every Tuesday morning with my son, who is one of our senior vice presidents here and runs a big portion of this company. And he and I have breakfast here every Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock. If I'm in town, he's in town. And, we talk about everything, business, kids, everything, all up and down. And it's just that stuff is more important, dude, than you buying them a thingy.
But here's the thing. The fact that Alex at 24 is thinking about the character part, how can I let these two important people know that I love them, tells me he was raised right.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that his parents didn't make a ton of money, but they still figured out how to be millionaires.
So, school teacher and a cop.
That's right. Yeah. You're not making a ton of money in that house. And I've lived with a school teacher and a cop. But they taught this guy integrity. And guys, life is a mist. It's a vapor. I've never, ever sat with somebody who said, you know what, I told my kid I loved him too much. I told my dad I loved him too much. Say it again and again and again.
Cats in the cradle and a silver spoon, right? All right, Kevin in Spokane, Washington. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
I'm better than I deserve, Dave.
Good. How can we help?
Well, I have a question, and I mean, to the gist of it, there's a lot of details to it, but the gist is I've been working in lawn care for a long time, and as most guys in the industry, I've thought about going off on my own, starting my own business, and my wife and I kind of came to that decision over this last winter, and we're kind of getting there. So I guess my real question is, like, should I do it the slow way, debt-free, where, I get another couple customers every year, and I save up and I buy equipment, and then I do it that way? Or, we've both really decided to do this full time, that if I should take a business loan and get the equipment I need to really get started, beginning.
Yeah. How long have you been listening to this show?
Hi, Kevin. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Dave Ramsey.
How long have you been listening to this show?
Well, long story short, I actually was introduced.
It's a simple question, dude. How long have you been listening to the show?
About a month.
Okay, that's cool. And so you've listened to about 10 or 15 episodes or something. Okay, that's fine. If you've been listening for 2 years, it's a different answer. So it's not as gentle. We teach people not to borrow money because the shortest distance between where you are and wealth is debt-free.
Right.
And so I started this business as $350 million this year off a card table in my living room, and every year we poured money back into it and grown it organically with organic cash flow. We've never borrowed a dime. So lots of times we didn't go do something or buy something because we were investing back into Ramsey and growing Ramsey, and it's worked out well for us. So you can do the same thing here. So you start with the best equipment you can get with the cash you have, and you work like a crazy man, because equipment is called overhead.
Yeah.
And, so you always want to limit overhead in business. You don't go buy the guys in the lawn business that have the biggest, fanciest tractors are the ones that make the least money.
Well, that's a good point.
And, if you go up on a construction site and there's 7 pickups sitting there and there's 3 brand new ones that look like they're off a Chevy commercial going through a mud puddle, and there's 2 beat up ones, the guys with the 2 beat up ones are millionaires. The other 2 twerps can't make their payments Friday. And this is how life works. So that's what you do here. You buy the least equipment that'll get the job done. And as you make more and more and more money, your equipment will be better and better. That's fine. And more equipment, and you can run more than one crew and all that kind of stuff. The good news is you know the business well enough that you're confident that you can grow it. That's good. And so, the good news about lawn care is you can start it with very little money. And you probably have the cash to buy that first tractor and a little trailer and a little pickup to pull it around and one weed eater and get her done, baby.
I'd love to see him put a price everything out, some good used equipment, get a number, and then sit down with his wife and say, let's go berserker mode for 9 months, 12 months.
Get that number.
And get this number.
Yeah.
And then you can slow down a little bit, but I want you to go bananas and get that and just not worry about it.
Or if it's $2,000 and you got $2,000 and you want to dump it in there and go do it, get after it.
Right. Go get it.
If you got the $2,000 laying there, but you don't need $20,000 to do this.
No. People just overbuy to get going.
You don't. Well, you're going to buy the wrong stuff, and it's going to be different. And I mean, the computer world. God, man, you know how fast our computers are out of date? As soon as we unpack them out of the box.
That's kind of the new thing. You buy this whole shipment of computers, you get them up, you open them all, you tear off that little piece of cellophane, and then you just close them and put them back in the box and send them to the used people.
Ship them to somebody else.
You don't even have to log into them.
They're already done. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've replaced computers in 30 years of running this business.
Wow.
I mean, we just and they're just they're dust.
Right.
They're a doorstop.
But my dad's still using that same Honda lawnmower he's had for 111 years.
Well, I mean, equipment is equipment. It's overhead, and keep your overhead down if you're going to win in business. I think you're going to do great, Kevin, and I think you need to go do it, but you do it with cash, brother. Thank you for calling in. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer for The Ramsey Show. This episode is over, but if you heard about an event, product, or service and didn't have a chance to write it down, don't worry. We list everything you've heard about during this episode in the podcast show notes section or head to theramseyshow.com. Thanks for listening.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. He's the host of the very popular Dr. John Deloney podcast. The popularity is going up and to the right. It's hockey sticking. The numbers are amazing. So if you want to hear a really entertaining show about life and people's questions about relationships and so forth, he's there. And he's here today to help you as well. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Speaking of calls for Dr. John, Caleb's with us in Austin, Texas. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
Good, better than I deserve. How about you guys?
Just the same, sir. How can we help?
Figured. Well, I'm calling on behalf of my amazing wife. Her and her mom had a falling out probably about 3 years ago. And
I'm sorry, say that again. How long ago?
Probably about 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. And it's still pretty hectic. And so
what does that mean? What does hectic mean?
It's not a good relationship. Okay. We had our son. He just turned 9 months. They met once, and the kind of the rules we have is he's not allowed at our house, and our son's not allowed over there. And it's weighing heavy on my wife.
So why'd you feel the need to draw? That's a hard boundary. Why'd you feel the need to draw that boundary?
It's just a cancerous person, I guess, to say.
Be more specific. You're talking pretty vague. Be specific. Something happened that said you cannot be with my kid.
What does she do that is a danger to your child?
Yeah.
Well, just the environment. Her boyfriend is not the best man in the world. She's very negative. She's always doubted our marriage would last, and she would tell people we're not going to last. When my wife got pregnant, she said, that I wasn't going to stick around.
Okay.
And we had a miscarriage, and she just blew it off. And my wife just recently asked her to if they could go to counseling and try and fix it. And she was just like, I'll think about it. And it's just to me, my kind of view is if just the thought of being around someone stresses me out, I just don't even want to deal with that.
That's easier said than when it's your mom. And your wife has a picture in her head of this new baby, and her mom's a part of that. And she had to draw boundaries for whatever reason. I still don't fully get it, but she had to draw some boundaries that doesn't include her.
So
she's got to grieve that picture.
I'm trying to understand just as a guy. I'll let John talk in a minute. But so your mother-in-law's series of offenses are that she's a jerk.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
has she done
there's
something
more
other than just been a jerk to your wife?
No, like physical harm. No, but
no. I mean, is she just like nasty and kind of mean?
Yeah,
snarly.
Yeah.
Snarly.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of ethical things that have gone on with like finances and stuff like that I don't want to air out. But
well, like she stole from your wife?
Well, from her father.
Okay. All right.
She's just a person of no character, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And like, so she only will talk to my wife when her boyfriend's out of town, and then when her boyfriend comes back, she doesn't respond to anything. And
so what's the challenge? Is your wife just struggling with just putting a period at the end of that relationship and moving on?
Yeah, it eats her up inside.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm calling. I'm just trying to, I guess the man in me is just like, well, so long. And for her, it's harder, and I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's her mom.
Yeah, it's her mom.
Yeah.
You got to honor that. Don't get in the trap of talking bad about her mom. Get in the trap of supporting her and loving her. At some point, she's going to have to make the decision. She's going to have to put a period at the end of that sentence. Her mom's never going to do it with her, because if she would, you wouldn't be in the situation in the first place. So your wife's going to have to decide to grieve this loss and then start creating a new picture that's going to include her baby, you, and whoever else, but not mom. And your wife's going to do that on her own terms and her own time. And that's frustrating and annoying if you're a husband who loves his wife and doesn't want to see her hurt. But anytime there's a separation from a mom like this, they're just going to be hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Especially with the 9
so
definitely a lot.
Let me throw out something. The secret to happiness is low expectations.
Yeah.
And so if her mother had I'll just make up something. I don't know. Something where, let's say she had Alzheimer's. Okay? And when people get Alzheimer's, they generally either become much nicer than they used to be or much meaner than they used to be. My mother-in-law got Alzheimer's, and bless her soul, she got nicer. And kept feeding the dog until the dog got fat. I mean, it was almost humorous. And so, because she forgets she fed the dog.
Yeah.
And so, if you had someone like that, we were never looked at Sharon's mom when she was going through that and said, we lowered our expectations of her because she was deficit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot. I mean, my expectations, I don't think you gave me lower.
Yeah, and I think your wife still has high mom expectations of a woman who can't deliver.
Yeah.
And so if she lowered her expectations and just said, pretend like mom has Alzheimer's and she's a little nutty, because she's a little nutty, dude. The woman you just described is like Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah.
And she's really not got her crap together mentally. This woman doesn't.
But I can see the challenge between someone with Alzheimer's and saying this person's got bad
I know, but I'm saying
right?
if you're I'm talking about his wife, if she said, instead of hoping mom is going to be all super mom.
Oh, she's never going to be.
I know. Instead said, let's treat her as if she's deficit because she is.
Gotcha.
And you just go, oh, that's just my crazy mother.
This is just who mother. This is just my crazy mother.
That's just my crazy mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you don't get all tore up about it. Because the reason the girl's getting all tore up about it is she keeps thinking mom's going to come through.
She's got this picture.
Am I wrong?
No. Yeah, but I think that having lower expectations isn't going to make her feel good. She's still going to have to grieve that thing that mom's never going to come through like that.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if every one of these conversations, it's like, oh, mom did it again. Well, what did you expect?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. If a rattlesnake's going to bite you, right? That's it.
A stinking snake bites. So don't be, when they start, when that little tail starts wiggling and making that little noise, you just get back,
Caleb, let me ask you this. Are you in a place, have y'all backed yourselves into a corner with an either or that was a little bit over the top, or do you feel good about it? And I'll ask you this. I know a lot of first-time parents who make these big declarations. You can't come into my home unless you've showered in Lysol and washed your hands. And by third kid, the kid's walking in with a handful of dog dew and then nobody cares, right? Have you all first kidded this situation where you've made these declarations?
Yeah, and I don't know. My mindset is if you have to hide seeing my son, then why are we even going to be around that type of person?
Well, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the bottom line is there's a lot of heartbreak for your wife. It's very hard for her. Crazy mom's just going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You're looking at it very like, that's what it is. And it's
her
just
mom.
it's her mom. You can't take that loose.
Yeah.
That there's still that umbilical cord in the spiritual world.
Be gentle with her grieving, man.
I'll send you a copy of Henry Cloud's book called Boundaries. He's a friend of John's and mine, and it's a world-class book on this subject. Hold on, I'll send you a copy of it.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. When it comes to making big money or life moves, like buying a home or getting married or having a baby, it's likely the last thing on your mind to make sure you have the right insurance coverage. I get it. Big changes have a lot of details. But what would be even more overwhelming is to find yourself in a situation where you or your family are in the hole because you were not covered. If not having the time or energy is what's keeping you from getting the right insurance coverage, use one of our endorsed local providers. Their independent agents find you the best coverage at the best price. Your car, homeowner's insurance, as an example, they will shop and get you the best deal, typically save you over $700 over what you're paying now a year. All you got to do is text the word insurance to 33789. Text insurance to 33789. Rodney's in Rochester, Minnesota. Hi, Rodney, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, just recently been listening to you. Got a couple questions on where I'm at with my job being a union member. We have what everyone knows as a pension, and we also have an annuity. And I've been in the trade for 7 years now. They send us statements. Now listening to you, I'm kind of picking apart when my statement comes on what they're investing our money into.
Good.
Kind of to break it down. You recommend 15%. Last year alone, I made $111,000, so a little over $15,000 a year. And the hours worked last year out of our package, they take $6.50 an hour, put it into that annuity, and I'm getting pretty close to that 15%. Now, do you count that as my 15%? Do I need to go out and start anything else? Because I have my pension, which we have a great pension, and the annuity. I'm just wondering where I should go from there. And I also looked on the statements. They have things like, they put some of our money into bonds, but they have like the mid-cap good growth stocks and, everything you talk about. But they also give you the option on this website that we can change what we'd like. And I wonder if I find like a SmartVestor Pro and he gets inside my annuity, can he break that down into just strictly the mutual funds alone. Is that something that's
So
possible?
let me make sure I understand exactly. I think I do, but let me make sure. Your pension, of course, you're putting nothing in. They're funding that. Your annuity is coming out of your check. You are putting it in, but it's mandatory.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it amounts to almost 15%. And you have choices in there that you can do. And so that's much like a person in corporate America having a 401k. All right. And so you have a mandatory money that you're putting in. Do they match the annuity as well, or they just do the pension?
Just pension.
Perfect. Okay. Does the annuity have the option of being a Roth?
I have not asked.
Okay. So first thing I want to do is find out if it's a Roth, and then the next thing, you can get in touch with the SmartVestor Pro. They make their money, the SmartVestor Pros, when they sell you a mutual fund and put it into like your Roth IRA or do a 401k rollover or something like that. So helping you pick your annuity over at the union makes them zero. They might do it anyway as a favor because you're a Dave Ramsey listener. So you could ask one of them. They probably would do it. Just so they could help your wife or help your kids or your grandpa or whatever later, that kind of a thing. But they're not actually going to make money on that transaction. Obviously, that's a union transaction. But they might do it. So let's kind of talk through for a second, though. You said mid-cap. I'm guessing they have mid-cap. They have small-cap. They have bonds. They probably have large-cap or something like that. Does that sound right?
You nailed it. You bet.
Okay. Well, let's talk through, and I'll explain to you what they are, and you can put percentages in each one, correct?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Okay. We teach people to put money in 4 types of mutual funds: growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. And let's just have a little class here on what this stuff is, because it's good for the listeners all across America to hear while I'm talking to you, okay? So, cap means capitalization. It means the money the company has. Large cap is big companies, huge, big dinosaur companies. If you were to look in that large cap fund, you would see names like Alcoa, General Motors, big old honking dinosaurs that move slow and are predictable and steady. Okay? Small cap is quite the opposite. It's the rowdy kids. All right? It's the brand new startups, the tech boys, some of the healthcare startup things. The companies haven't been around a long time. It's going to make a lot more money but lose a lot more money. It's going to be wild child of the mix. You follow me?
Yes.
Because they're the small companies. They're brand new, so they're more volatile, or they're just rowdy. Whatever they could be in a rowdy industry. Whatever, they're volatile. Mid cap, guess what? That's Goldilocks. That's right in the middle. The porridge that's just right. Okay. And so that's kind of, that's like your Home Depot or McDonald's or, I don't know. You might find Facebook in there. You might find some stuff like that. Those are big companies, but they're not old, stodgy companies. They still have some life to them. They're kind of in the middle. It's like the young kid that's wild, the middle-ager, and the older guy kind of thing almost. In terms of their behavior and their risk patterns. And so your large cap is much like a growth and income that I'm telling you. Your mid cap is much like a traditional growth fund. Your small cap is much like an aggressive growth fund. Do you have anything that sounds like international or foreign?
Yes, those are on there as well. They list. I've heard you run through them in quite a few of your YouTubes, and I looked on my sheet and. Yeah. Those are all on there, but they're not split exactly 25, 25, 25, 25%.
Okay. Is the large cap a group of funds or one fund that is large cap?
It'd be a group. There's multiple.
Okay. So you have to pick like one whole thing and be in that. Is that what they're telling you?
I wish I had that sheet.
That's okay. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
It sounds like if like mid cap is like 10 different funds in there. And you have to pick one of them. I'd pick that one.
Okay.
Because it's right down the middle. Okay. And it spreads it across those 10 funds and just forget it. All right. That's like buying an S&P 500 fund kind of
index fund almost.
Like buying an index fund. I wouldn't want you in the wild child with everything. I'd love to have some over in there though. So if you could put 25 large cap, 25 small cap, 25 mid cap, and 25 international, that would give you the mix we're talking about. and I think we're done for the day. You know, I mean, that's going to get you there. But I'm not sure that that's what they're allowing you to do here. I can't tell whether they're grouping these things. If you pick a single fund out of the large cap, pick the best one, the one that's got the best track record over 10 or more years. Do a single fund out of the mid cap, pick the best one, the one that's got the best track record over 10 to 25 years. Same thing in the small, same thing in the international. And you put those 4 funds together out of those 4 different categories. Now you've got a portfolio like we talk about, like I personally do with my 401k. John does too here at our company. And so, but that's these names tell you what they are.
So teach me what an annuity is. I hear that a lot.
An annuity is technically an insurance company product,
Okay.
savings account with an insurance company.
Okay.
This is a variable annuity that's funded with mutual funds. A
Okay.
fixed annuity it sucks. A fixed annuity is like a CD, but at an insurance company. It's going to pay 2-3%.
And they're going to take the gap.
But the annuity wraps around the money and keeps it warm from taxes like being in a 401k does.
Okay. So it's just a different product
Yep.
under a different bank.
Exactly. But inside of a variable annuity, you can have all these different options we've been talking about.
Okay.
And so it sounds like they've got a fairly good offering.
Yeah, it
It's a
sounds
broad
really
offering.
great, yeah.
If you can just weed through the weeds and figure out what to do with it. So, yeah, you can check a Smart Investor Pro. One of them will probably help you walk through it and knock this down. But that's the general ideas of how you get at this, Rodney. Thanks for being a listener. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Riley is with us in Kansas City. Hi, Riley. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and Dr. John. It's an honor to speak to you guys.
You too. What's up?
So my wife and I got married back in January.
Congratulations.
And thank you, sir. We finished up baby step 3 in March, and we're trying to figure out now whether we should move on to baby step 3B or move into baby step 4 with the idea of throwing whatever else we can into a savings account for a down payment eventually.
Awesome.
Good work, man. That's incredible.
So how old are you guys?
I am 23, and she is 21.
And what's your household income?
It's going to be roughly $100,000. So she is still in school. She finishes in May, and she'll start working full time in July.
Awesome. What's she going to do?
She's an architectural engineer, a lot smarter than me.
Well played, man. Well played.
Always good to marry up, brother. So what do you do?
I work in landscaping.
Good. Very good. Okay. All right. So $100,000 household income. You're in your early 20s, and you're thinking about starting to save for a house. What's the downside?
Well, we're not entirely sure when. We know the place that we're living at now, we have a contract through until next July, and we're kind of thinking we'd potentially be in the position to buy a house maybe next spring, but we're also not sure. So I don't know if we should, save up, and I really wouldn't know how much exactly to save up for at this point, and then start baby step 4, or start baby step 4 and throw whatever we can.
Well, you got plenty of time to do either. You're very smart, very wise, very ahead of the game at your age. And so you're not calling me up at 62 with this question. You're already, you got 50 years here to play this out. So you're going to be fine, dude. You've done well. So you're going to get both. You're going to get retirement and you're going to get a house. So it's just a matter of what the order and what the first things are. So what's the in my mind, as young as you guys are, I would, how much to put down. I'll give you a hint. The more you put down, the better off you're going to be.
Okay.
You can't put down too much. It's impossible. So just start saving. I mean, why don't you just pile up as much money as you can pile up in the next 12 months?
Okay.
And guess what? If you don't want to buy a house then, you still got a big old pile of money. It's okay.
Okay.
And then you could start your maybe step 4. And if you run numbers from 25 to 65, that 40 years investing 15% of 100,000, that's going to be like $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to have. So my point is, if you put this off 2 years and save for a house, and then start saving for retirement, as long as you do 15% the rest of your life, and that's if you never get a raise. Which, by the way, if you work 40 years and never get a raise, you're a loser. Okay, so I think you're going to be okay, right? You follow me? I mean, the set of assumptions here is very conservative. Is my point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're going to do great. I'd just pile up as much as you can pile up this year. Just make it a game. How much of a down payment can we save?
He sounds like a guy that got in a football game, and on the very first pass, he made some good moves and scored a touchdown, and he crossed the line, and the crowd's cheering, and he didn't know what to do with the ball. He didn't have a dance planned. He doesn't, do I just hand it back to the ref? I don't know what to do, man. And it's just celebrate and then go to the next step.
Yeah.
Right? It's this weird, we're
Yeah.
23, and we are crushing it, and do we
I didn't want to screw this up.
I scored, man. Hey, you scored a touchdown, dude. It's awesome. It's awesome.
That's fun. You've done so well, sir. So well. Monique is with us in Bangor, Maine. Hi, Monique. How are you?
Very well. Thank you to Kelly for taking my call today.
Sure. If you got by her, your life's good. What's up?
That's a good move, Monique.
So I am looking for some guidance from Dave and Dr. Delaney about my will. I have 2 daughters, one of whom is doing very well financially. She and her husband are in the 1%. And the other daughter earns about $50,000. And for several years, I felt uncomfortable about how to divide up the assets. I'm an everyday millionaire. But more recently, I've gotten to the point where I don't want to give either of them any money.
Why?
I feel like I've worked so hard my whole life. I paid for college for them. I've paid over $500,000 for college for them. And they've turned into socialists. And they just, but they have. And I
you
feel
sent them the wrong college.
Yeah.
Monique,
yes.
you're my favorite call maybe in 2 months.
I know we're all laughing.
No,
but
we're with you. We're with
frankly,
you.
I'm depressed. I'm very depressed about where I see my children heading, and I think I don't want my money to go to them, and I feel terrible about that.
You shouldn't. They're not entitled. They didn't hit the DNA lottery. They're not entitled. My children have been instructed since they were small that in order to get the opportunity to manage the money that God gave me to manage, meaning that I hand off the responsibility to manage some of the Ramsey fortune to them, they will have to be people of character. Socialists are not people of character.
Okay.
They're parasites. And so if my children are going to be parasites, I'm not going to finance their lives so that they have a reality show.
Is there a way to put money in, let's say, a trust where they couldn't get access to it till they were, let's say, 70 years old?
Well, I mean, then they'd just be a 70-year-old socialist, right?
Yeah, well, but I'm hoping by then they will have kind of woken up.
You can. All of our estate is trust-based, and our trust is, we've done it from a faith perspective, not an economics perspective. But if they're not walking with God, they don't get to manage God's money. It's what the trust says.
Really?
Yep. In no uncertain terms. And so, in your case, you could change that lingo and just go, when you become a capitalist, you get the opportunity to manage this money.
Monique, here's what I would do. I would take some time to distill down beyond the monikers and the labels.
Report on Atlas Shrugged.
What? That's fantastic. Man, I am not usually at a loss for words, and you got me on that one. Monique, here's what I want you to do. I want you to distill down beneath the quote-unquote word socialist. Okay, what are the things that they are saying that concerns you, that you think that you are leaning into? And I want you to have a direct, straight conversation about what these things are. And then I want you to identify them. And like Dave said, it's your money. You can do what you want to with it. I've seen more and more over the last 4 or 5 years a lot of semantic shell games. And once you sit down and talk to somebody, it's like, oh, we're way on the same page. I just thought this, about that, right?
Yeah. I think you can say that you are not required morally, ethically, legally, spiritually to leave your money to people that you do not agree with how they live their lives.
Period, full stop.
In there, right? So, now, once you've said that, then you can start to have some discussions with them that are very gentle and very life-giving and very
direct.
kind. And
Gentle
very
and direct,
very
yeah.
kind and
Yeah.
very clear. And it's like, okay, I've paid for all this stuff for you, and truthfully, I don't agree with the way you're living your life, and I'm not willing to finance that going forward.
Right.
And so it's up to you if you want to do that. I'm not being controlling. I just want to let you know that I'm going to go ahead and do a reading of the will, and you're not going to be in it as long as you're living this way, whatever this way is. If your kid's a heroin addict, you sit down with them and go, I'm not funding your heroin
But what you
with my
did
death.
that is unique is you articulated what that meant. You're not vague.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm very clear.
Very clear.
It's unbelievably detailed, and it costs $25,000
That's
to
what
write
Monique
the trust.
to be very clear.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, the legal fees on this were amazing, but I just, and then we get to have this meeting once a year where we revisit and go, oh, by the way, remember what we said? If you're going to manage money for God, this is what managing money for God looks like. First, you got to be walking with Him, and and we do this kind of stuff, and you don't get, and so it's not, we're not mad about it. But we feel a responsibility to not fund heroin addicts or socialists. I mean, it's like, wow, this is the Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in every human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Augmentino said, always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later. So I think it's good to revisit that last call because it was not only highly entertaining, but it was, but the concept needs to be talked about. We tell everyone to get a will.
100%.
Everyone needs a will, and I always tell people go ahead and have a reading of the will while you're alive.
Yes.
Meaning tell people what the flip's in it, so that there's not some drama after you're dead, and they, because what ends up happening is you leave one of your kids as the executor, and they have to execute what's in your will, and other people that are or aren't in the will are mad at the executor.
And you're
they should have been mad at you.
Your executor to shoot your arrows, and that's not cool.
Yeah,
right?
you need to go ahead and take those arrows while you're alive and go, look, you're not in this because.
Have some character. Right.
Yeah, you're not in this because, and it helps the family after your death not be caught off guard and have all these unmet expectations. They thought they were going to get $1 million, they got nothing, or whatever. They thought they were going to get $100, they got nothing, or whatever, right? I mean, so go ahead and have a reading of the will, meaning you tell people what's in the will. Okay, if I pass away, this brother and sister are going to be the guardians of our children. Mm-hmm. This person over here is going to be the trustee of our life insurance proceeds to be given to those children according to our trust. And just let you know that, so that, this other person over here that thought they were going to be managing both and getting either, well, I wonder why he didn't do, well, shut up. I've already covered it while I was alive.
That's right.
So you have a reading of the will. You do a will while you're alive. You tell people what's up.
You tell them where the will is.
Yeah, where it physically is.
Right.
And have multiple copies so it can be found. And it properly executed. And you go to mamabearlegals.com and you get one. You can do it in 20 minutes if you don't have a complicated will. Now, when you're filling this out, you're going to discover the angst that precious lady has, and that it requires thought about how life works because you're planning your death. Mm-hmm. It is what your will is, what your will, like you have a will.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I want to have happen. That's my will upon my death. The last thing I wanted to have happen, my last will. And I testify to that in testament. And so then you sign it properly and it becomes a legal document. The executor is not in charge. They don't have free will. They get to execute. Executor, execute. That's what that means. They execute what is in the will. That's all they're not allowed to do anything else.
They're allowed to just do what you said.
That's all they can do. Right. So you need to be real clear about what they're supposed to do. Very clear in there. This is what goes to that. And you need to update your will anytime there's a major life change. You change states because wills are not federal law. Probate law is state law. It's not federal law. It's state law. And Louisiana law is French-based. Very, very different.
Yeah, we had to update ours when we moved.
Yeah,
right, to new state.
Yeah, and Texas it still thinks it's its own country.
Probate. Yeah.
So Texas has got weird laws. California and Florida, very weird laws. New York, ridiculously weird laws. Most rest of the states are fairly similar, but still change your will. Update your will if you change. If you go through a divorce, obviously, you update your will. But the premise is pretty simple. You are not morally or spiritually obligated to leave the work of your hands to your kin.
To anybody you don't want to.
Period.
Yeah.
You're not obligated to leave it to anybody. And you're not a bad person if you don't do that, by definition of having not done that.
Right.
They're not entitled because they happen to have the same last name. They're not entitled because they crossed your path somewhere. And so, my dad's third wife got everything.
It's your dad's money.
It's your dad's money. He gets to decide that. Maybe she was better to him than you were.
Or maybe there's some issues and you got to grieve that.
Yeah. But that's not, you don't get to decide, I'm going to fight it. Well, you can fight it if you want. You're going to lose.
Yeah. If
the will is put together right. And you should lose because it's not his desire. It's not his will that you got the money.
So tell me how you think about this. I may have been told by a counselor in my life that I'm hyper controlling.
No.
And I have this
which makes a great talk radio host, by the way.
The best.
Yeah.
I have this fantasy about having money that I pass along, and I'll be able to still pull strings and I won't even be here.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So there's part of me that says I want to detail this sucker out, and y'all are gonna X, Y. And then there's part of me that knows the futility of that and want to say, I'm raising two good kids. I've got a good charities, I believe, whatever the thing is. And when I'm dead, how do you balance that?
Well,
because you've got a lot more commas and zeros than I do.
Well, what you've got to remember is that when you leave money, substantial money, it magnifies whoever you leave it to. All their good and all their bad. So whatever's wrong with your kid is going to be 10x.
And however generous they are is going to be 10x.
10x.
Right.
Same thing with that charity. If they're disorganized and chaotic, and they get a bunch of money, they're going to be 10x disorganized and chaotic. They're not suddenly going to fix their deficits. They're going to be magnified. They weren't waiting on the extra money to clean up their act. And so, wherever you leave it, so it's not necessarily a blessing. And so the extreme example we used in that call is you leave a heroin addict money, you're going to kill them. Because they're going to OD, because they can finally afford it.
So you don't want to curse people
with your money. But money's not the curse.
Right.
The curse is you've magnified whatever's wrong
their challenges
and whatever's right.
Yeah.
And so and you're not going to find any perfect organizations or any perfect kids.
Right.
And you're not more spiritual if you left it to charity than if you left it inside your family. You're still managing it for God if we're Christians in either case. And that's what we're called to do. So
how did you determine when you were doing yours, how did you determine the character ethos that you wanted to wrap around this money after you're gone?
Well, I wanted them to be walking with God, and that also in our world involves handling money the way we teach because it's biblical principles.
Okay.
And so to the extent that they're doing that while I'm here, I'm comfortable with them being there and training them that their brother or sister decides to go off the ranch and wants to live on the back of a yacht and not work, which is not in the Bible.
Right. But they'll wrap around that and hold them accountable.
Yeah, they're going to go, you're not getting any more money.
Gotcha.
And they've got the tools to do it the way we structured the thing.
Okay.
So we're not going to fund I'm not going to name names, but I mean crazy people in reality shows. You put the names on them, right?
Right.
They're pitiful, and I don't want to be the cause of the pitiful. Not in my lineage, you know, and so. But I'm not obligated to leave it to charity because humans are bad. Because humans run charities. So this is ridiculous. You know, people, well, if you were spiritual, you'd leave it all to the church. Where some guy that doesn't even know how to handle money's the pastor? Come on. That's a bunch of crap.
Or you raise 3 off-the-charts generous children like you have, and you know that money is going to be magnified with the generosity, right?
And if they learn their lessons, then the same thing will apply as they leave it to my grandkids.
To their grandkids, yeah.
They're not going to ruin one of them. Because if you fund one that's off track, you're going to ensure they stay off track. That's what it amounts to. And that's one being a charity, a ministry, a person. And so that's where you got to look at it. In her case, she's saying they became socialist, meaning she thinks that their political view of the world is way off base, and she doesn't want to fund that.
And she's
disappointed.
She's got different ideology, and so it's her money. She can magnify what she wants to.
Leave it to
the
conservative
Rand Corporation,
conservative think tank. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't know, but. Wherever you feel like is going to implement that. But even remember then, though, there are people running that.
Right.
And so where the control breaks down is when we all, the controlling from the grave, the sense of control freak that you and I both share, breaks down is we realize that even having done all of that, then it's still in God's hands. Because those kids can still just go crazy.
They can do what they want,
They can come back, they can go away, then come back, then go away. You could leave it to a ministry, and then they lose their way, and they completely leave orthodoxy and go some crazy direction with their theology, and you go, how the crud did I leave money to those people?
It starts with an articulation of what do you want to see this money magnify. I love that.
Yeah, because it's going to magnify.
It's going to magnify. Love it.
Good discussion, you guys. And get your wills done, people.
Do a will.
Do a will. This is the Ramsey Show. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.